Detective Sergeant Lisa Connor-Swain is continuing her search for the person responsible for killing Theo Silverton. And in dramatic Coronation Street scenes, she ends up placing one Weatherfield resident under arrest, despite them never being considered an official suspect. Very few people in Weatherfield are mourning Theo's death due to his abusive behavior, though Lisa has personal motivation to crack the case. Firstly, she's a police officer, and secondly, stumbling across a murder victim on the day of her wedding completely ruined the celebrations. Working alongside fellow officer Kit Green, Lisa has narrowed her investigation down to 6 possible suspects as she tries to uncover who murdered one of the most despised men ever to set foot on the cobbles. At the top of the suspect list is Todd Grimshaw, Theo's long-suffering partner who endured years of emotional torment and manipulation at Theo's hands. Lisa has also become increasingly focused on Summer Spellman, whose adoptive stepfather Billy Mayhew died because of Theo. Summer's diary reveals disturbing fantasies about threatening Theo with a gun, making her a person of interest in the case. Meanwhile, Kit suspects Gary Windus, Theo's former friend and employer. Gary has no tolerance for bullies, especially considering his violent past. CCTV footage showing him smashing Theo's van with a sledgehammer shortly before the murder certainly raises suspicions around the builder. Another figure attracting attention is funeral director George Shuttleworth, who cares deeply for Todd and quickly recognized Theo's true nature. George was actually the first person arrested after Lisa discovered a blood-covered jumper at the Undertaker's. Although he was later released, questions still remain over his mysterious late-night walk on the evening Theo died. George's partner, Christina Boyd, is also under scrutiny. The big question is whether she's protecting George or hiding secrets of her own. Then there's Theo's former wife, Danielle Silverton, who has every reason to resent him. Theo abandoned Danielle and their children to begin a relationship with Todd. While she returned to buy flowers for Theo and appeared to bond with Todd over their shared pain, she later accused Todd of murdering Theo for insurance money. Matters become even more suspicious when Ryan Connor reveals he spotted Danielle near the crime scene on the night of the killing. Following Ryan's statement, Lisa's investigation takes an unexpected twist as Danielle officially becomes a major suspect. Lisa later informs Todd that she has already questioned Danielle, leaving him desperate to know what she discovered. Elsewhere, an emotional Summer confesses to Todd during a prison visit that she is thinking about admitting guilt to manslaughter because she feels trapped with no other choice. Devastated by Summer's situation, Todd asks Lisa if the police can finally return his mobile phone. However, Lisa's shocking reply leaves him stunned. At the same time, Lisa tells Carla Connor-Swain that her superior officer seems willing to pin the blame on Summer without properly exploring alternative suspects. Soon after, Todd's missing phone is discovered in a pawn shop, prompting Lisa to send it off for forensic examination. The investigation then takes another surprising turn when Lisa suddenly arrests local troublemaker Brody Michaelis on suspicion of theft. Sally and Tim Metcalf are horrified as Lisa escorts a furious Brody into her police car after forensic tests uncover his fingerprints all over Todd's phone. Kit watches anxiously as the situation unfolds. The question now is whether Brody can clear his name or if he could somehow be connected to Theo's murder after all. Coronation Street viewers are set to see young Bertie Osborne caught up in a heartbreaking situation, with Jody Ramsey at the center of the drama. Jody's latest schemes end up causing problems for another innocent resident, and this time it's Daniel Osborne's son who suffers the consequences. Bertie has unknowingly become trapped in the middle of the ongoing tension between Jody and Daniel as she desperately tries to avoid losing her place to stay. Fans will remember that Jody originally intended to secretly remain in Daniel's flat while he was supposedly away on holiday, only to later discover that Daniel had lied and was actually hiding out in the apartment himself. After several awkward encounters and disagreements, Daniel eventually allowed Jody to stay with him, and before long the two developed an easy friendship. Things changed, however, when Jody informed Danielle that Brody had been struggling emotionally during his absence. Her plan quickly unraveled after Danielle decided she would need to move out once Brody came home. Desperate to avoid being homeless, Jody resorted to creating anonymous online hate messages aimed directly at Danielle. Most of the posts referenced Danielle's former girlfriend, Megan Walsh. Danielle suspected Megan herself was responsible for the online attacks, especially since she had recently been released on bail. But as the comments became increasingly personal, he started to believe the culprit had to be somebody much closer to him. His suspicions eventually landed on David Platt, leading Danielle to angrily accuse him of running the account. Later, after realizing he had made a mistake, Danielle apologized for the outburst. The constant online abuse has taken a serious emotional toll on Danielle, making him relieved when Jody offered to delay moving out so she could support him in caring for Brody. During tonight's episode, Danielle was devastated after discovering that Brody had been bullied at school because of the cruel rumors spreading online about his father. When Danielle shared the upsetting news with Jody, she appeared genuinely guilty about the situation, but it remains unclear whether that will finally stop her from continuing the anonymous posts. Danielle still has no idea that Jody is secretly behind the harassment campaign, despite nearly catching her out in tonight's scenes when he noticed her trying to hide her phone. Jody narrowly avoided exposure by quickly showing Danielle a video of teenagers throwing a milkshake at Megan, pretending she was nervous about how he might react. The big question now is whether Danielle will eventually uncover Jody's deception. He has already promised Ken Barlow that he intends to confront whoever is responsible, which could mean Jody is heading for a major downfall once the truth comes out. Coronation Street viewers witnessed another emotional chapter for Will Driscoll, as fresh scenes hinted that Megan Walsh's return could bring even more trouble for the teenager. The latest episode opened with Will seeing a video showing a group of boys harassing Megan, leaving him conflicted and emotionally shaken. Will has continued to struggle ever since Megan was arrested for grooming him and later released on bail. Tensions have also grown between Will and his father Ben, who fears the traumatic situation involving Megan could negatively affect his son's future relationships. In the new scenes, Will confronted Ben after overhearing a conversation between him and Eva Price about both Megan and the ongoing situation. Trying to escape the stress, Will headed to Roy's Cafe, where he unexpectedly crossed paths with Sam Blakeman. Unaware that Sam had recently been experiencing disturbing hallucinations involving him, Will was stunned when Sam reacted angrily at the sight of him. Sam accused Will of ruining his life and even called him evil, leaving the confused teenager apologizing despite not understanding what was happening. Clearly upset, Will rushed away from the cafe and turned to alcohol for comfort, taking a bottle of vodka before climbing onto nearby scaffolding. Coronation Street airs on weeknights at 8:30 p.m. on ITV and is available to stream on ITVX.